and welcome to another edition of Saturday Morning Coffee with Back to Basics Dog Training. For those of you who don't know me, I am the head trainer here. My name is Leon, and each and every week I bring you this live free Q&A session to answer all your dog training questions. It's one of the highlights of my week. Good morning, John. How are you? And as always, like John just did, just pop in if you're watching. Give me a shout out. Let me know you're watching. Say, hey, what's up? Whatever you want to say. Let me know where you're watching from. Does me good to see that I got people out there and letting me know where you're watching from, because I do share this split from all over. Good morning, Michelle and Athena. So, again, if you're watching now live and in living color, shoot your questions to me, guys. This is what this is about. This is a free dog training session. Any question regarding dog training, nothing is off limits. So ask away. Don't be shy. And if you're watching later on the replay, put your comments in. Let me know you're watching on the replay. Let me know if you have any questions. I do get to the questions on replay as well. But as always, I'm going to start off on a subject until we start seeing some questions coming through. And I touched on it a little bit last week. Good morning, Linda from Indian Land. Yay, Indian Land representing. I'm going to get on. Oh, wait, hold on. Athena snapped at Rob when he tried to move her on my bed. He didn't want her to get protective of me. What could we do? Okay, so in that case, she probably is a little protective of you. How did he go to move her would be my question. Did he use a verbal command? Did he try to physically remove her? I always say, if you want to move a dog off a bed, off a chair, off a couch, or whatever, use a verbal command. I do it with Zoe. Zoe probably right now is sitting on my chair in the living room. And when I come out, it's just off or down or whatever sound. The other thing is, if Athena is protecting you, Michelle, you need to be the one to take the lead on that, because you got to tell her it's okay for him to come into bed. So you'd be Athena off. You can't go into punishment mode when the dog makes a mistake. A lot of people tend to, when the dog makes a mistake like this, tend to get angry, of course. And as you all know, I have my trademark saying, which will pop up here. Why not? Because I can. No anger, no frustration, no nonsense. You can't get angry at her for having the unwanted behavior. You got to teach her, and you can't punish her by putting her in the crate, because then it associates the crates with the negativity. He always flips her around so we can kiss her face, and she seems okay with the first time she did it. It may have been she was in a dozing off, and there's a saying, don't wake a sleeping dog, and there's a reason for it. A lot of people make mistakes when dogs are sleeping. They do a physical touch to them. I don't agree with this. Yeah, and that's the perfect punishment. But as long as he made her get down in a calm way, that's fine. But if she was slightly asleep in a zoned out state, she may not have went to go bite him. It's no different than if a human is in a deep sleep and one of the kids comes into the room, or somebody comes into the room and wakes them up, startles them. They're like, whoa. So she may have been startled. And even though it's not an excuse, it may have been what happened, and it's still an unacceptable behavior. But you really want to teach her that that's unacceptable. She also, before you go to move her, make sure she's awake. Make sure she's aware of her surroundings. It's real important, guys. That happens, because again, they do get startled. They're in that sleep state, and they get startled. They lash out. No different again from a human. They get startled, then we react. Sometimes you punch at something that startles you. He was upset because he's afraid she's going to get protective against him. That's why it's real important when she has these unwanted behaviors. Michelle, you take the lead, because we don't want her to become protective over you against him. So you got to teach her that, hey, that's an unacceptable behavior. You don't do that to him. Good morning, Donna. You teach Athena that, hey, I don't agree with this behavior, but it's got to come from you, because you were the one that was there. She was probably in a protective mode over you, or she was startled. I'm not sure. But either way, or you both do the discipline to show her you're in a united front. You have to agree, but you gotta leave the anger and the frustration aside. And you can't worry about the what if. What if she becomes protective? Because you can actually create that um, phenomena, um, that if he gets nervous the next time he goes into the bed and she's there and he's nervous, that's going to create that what if. You're nervous coming into the bed with my human, I'm not going to trust you. So it's got to be that no nonsense. But make sure she's awake. That would be my first thing. Make sure she's fully 100% awake, and then use more verbal commands than touch commands. Um, yeah, you can't baby her and punish her. It doesn't work. It was a mistake. It's a teaching opportunity. It's an unwanted behavior. Teach her a different way to do it. Or she doesn't have the privilege to be that high up in the bed. She lost that privilege. Maybe she should be sleeping at the foot of the bed instead of up by the head. Remember, guys, in the pack world, animal world, which is you know based on pack mentality, the higher you are, the more powerful you become. So if a dog is sleeping with you and their heads are on the pillow, they're at the same level as you in their mind. They're allowed to do this. At the foot of the bed, they're in a different position and they tend not to react as much. Um, so that's something you can also try to have her more towards the foot of the bed, not at the same level. I know you're giving her kisses goodnight. That's for you, for the humans. It's not for the dog, guys. I hate to tell you this. That makes us feel good. Um, and there's nothing wrong with it, but she's got to earn that kiss. Same way, when you start a relationship, we have to earn that first kiss. So it was a great question, guys. Remember that height makes right. So wherever that dog is in that bed can change the way it is. I've seen it with, I call it the small dog phenomena. People hold their small dogs up here, and the dog goes full Tasmanian devil when somebody approaches. You move them down to your hip area, um, and they change their behavior. Good question, Donna. What do I think of doggy daycare? If they're run properly, I think they're great for socialization for the dogs. Um, I definitely, I think Stark would do good. I don't know how he would do necessarily with the meet and greets that they do, or the whatever they call it, the evaluation. There's a good one right down the road from you off a bicycle path. All Aboard, I think, is the name of it now. It used to be something else. Um, Mary, Maria, the one lady who owns it, does a real fine job, great job with the company. She's been doing it for quite a long time. Um, I would definitely check it. I think it's called All Aboard now. It's right on Bicycle Path, right past, I think, down the road from Uncle Giuseppe's over there. Real good at it. There's another one in Setauket called, I believe it's called Social Hound. I've heard positive things. I don't know firsthand, but I would try it. I think Stark would do real good with it. Socialization is key. Uh, that's why I implore people, when the weather is nice and you can go out for walks in public area parks, trails, Avalon over on Long Island, Blydenburg Park, where there's a lot of animals. It's not necessarily going to a dog park, but getting them out, being in public, take them out with you. Socialization is key. They are social animals. Dogs need to socialize. And actually, that's a great segue into what I started to talk about today. I told you guys last week I took on a project where I'm going to do the research to help a gentleman get a dog, to make the dog into an emotional support dog for the gentleman. And I'm going to do the whole process of trying to figure out 2 or 3 dogs that I think may be a good match for him, and then bring him in to meet the dogs and see what we can do. And I'm looking at energy. I'm looking at the trainability of the dogs. He did okay in the vet on Saturday. Great. Did awesome with the vet and the vet tech, but we had a difficult time coming out when there were 5 to 6 dogs in the waiting room. Yeah, it's very hard there. And again, he's not an aggressive dog. He's an excitable dog. And when dogs are in the waiting room of the vet, it's a very confined area, so it kind of can feel claustrophobic, to put it in a human way. Um, but it's how you handle that situation. Did you disagree with him being excitable in that situation? Did you use the tools that you have, that we've discussed over the years, the tools that you use? I know what vets feel about the prong collar and the e-collar. I don't care what they think. Um, Did you use your tools to reinforce a better behavior in that situation? No aggression, just such overexcitement. Yeah. And that's why it's real important for him to get out and socialize more. And this is every dog, guys, not just Stark. Um, the weather hopefully is starting to get nicer up in New York. I don't think it's a good weekend this weekend, but um, bring them to places like Avalon Park. I used the e-collar and disagreed, but it was a struggle. Yeah, well, it will be a struggle. It's a new environment, learning something that he already really knows, but it's a new environment, more stimulation. There's five or six other dogs there. They're probably barking back and forth at him. The energy level is off the chart. That's why what I always say, when the higher they are, the lower you got to go in your energy. You got to stay extra calm, and that's very hard when you're in that confined space. Um, but it's something you can work on if your vet is a dog friendly vet and not all about the almighty dollar. Maybe you can work out something where you bring Stark in and just hang out in the waiting room for a little bit. But I would start it more on the social walking. Go to Avalon, go to Blydenburg, go to walking trails that are dog friendly. Base it all on calm. He's not allowed to react to dogs. He's not allowed to do this, and this is, and then you're going to start showing him. Um, it's going to teach him that when he does see other dogs in the outside world, he has to stay calm. I know you felt bad because he just wants to play. I know he does. I saw it with Zoe. Crazy how when we first got him, it would have been very different. Absolutely, you would have handled it, seen it totally differently. You would have looked at the excitement as aggression, and that's why I said the number one and number two reasons for dogs getting aggressive is what the first one to me is fear. The second one is overexcitement. Overexcitement turns to aggression, not because the dogs get aggressive, because it's how people handle the overexcitement. They handle it wrong. They handle it with anger and frustration and tension instead of that no nonsense approach, which I have on the blurb down here. No means no. Why? Because I said so. And that same no that I say you have to be calm in the house goes to when I'm at the vet's office. But if he was excited going into the vet, you set him. It's setting him up for failure. Um, if he's excited coming out of the exam room, he's set up for success. I know at vet's office time is money, but me personally, when I brought dogs to vets, new dogs of mine, and I'm teaching them how to have the etiquette, outside world etiquette. When we go to the vet, I make sure I do a walk first, get them a little more tired before I go to the vet, get them in the car, and I walk around the vet's office outside a little bit, get them a little bit. But I'm working strictly structure, not for the smelling purposes. And then I bring them into the vet the same way I bring them into the house through threshold management. And I do the same process every step of the way in the vet's office. So when they want the dog to go on the scale, I bring the dog to the scale. I got there a half hour early to possibly make sure he was calm before going in. Yep. But did you walk him? Did you walk him around outside the vet's office in a calm manner? That's crucial. Um, and everything that they're asking the dog to do. So go from the waiting room into where the scale is. I control it. It's based on calm. We go on the scale. It's calm. I invite them off the scale. It's calm. We go into the exam room. I treat it as if I'm going into the outside world. That threshold management comes into effect. They walk into the exam room calmly. I've also, because I've worked with enough rescue dogs and helped them bring dogs to vets, if the vet or the vet tech comes in and they start acting all that crazy crap, I ask them not to do that because I need that vet experience to represent calm, not excitement. It makes it easier for them. They don't understand it in the beginning, but they eventually get it. Um, I then even had him in the vestibule for 5-10 minutes when he was calm before physically going in. Beautiful. Yes, I walked him in. I put him on the scale. Yeah, it's a process, and I've worked with enough vets now where a lot of these vets will say, "Hey, listen, I need to make." This is what I tell the vets. I need to make the vet experience a calm experience for my dog, a better experience for my dog. Would it be okay if I come in there when there's no appointment, when I don't have an appointment, just to bring him in, maybe sit in the waiting room with him a little bit, maybe bring him into the exam room. No exam happens. It depends on the dog. Um, but you're allowed to, you can ask the question. Um, and then after the exam, and I try to keep the vet techs, not to get overly excited about the dog. I do threshold management coming out of the vet's office, and I do threshold management going from the corridor where the exam room is to the front desk where I got to pay. Wherever there's a place I can put a threshold, I do threshold management with these dogs. And then I have them, I go to the desk to do what I have to do. I make them sit. Um, I make them sit by my side while I'm paying my bill and doing what I need to do, setting up the next appointment, whatever. They're not allowed to move. They do. They're going to get checked up with a no. They have to stay there. I don't care about what's going on the other side of the thing with the other dogs. I don't care. You got to focus on me. Uh, Andrea, yes, there is a video on threshold management. It's on my YouTube channel. It's in a playlist called How to Leash Train My Dog or Your Dog. I don't remember what exactly, but it's something. It's a playlist. It's 5 episodes. Episode 2, I focus on threshold management. Um, it's something, especially with this process of training this dog to become the emotional support dog for this gentleman, I'm going to focus a lot on. We are going to videotape 99% of the process. Um, that's where it became extremely difficult when I was trying to pay the bill. Yeah, that is a hard part because one, they just got all this attention. But it's real important you control it. And it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy, guys. But the more consistent you do it, the quicker it'll get. That's why it's so important to bring them to places sometimes where there are these distractions. I like the concept of bringing a dog to Lowe's or Petco. And you don't have to go in when it's a crazy time. You can go in when look in the parking lot or hang out. I've done this with dogs that are very reactive, overly excited when they see other dogs in public. I've gone to a Petco and just hung out in the parking lot for a while. So they saw dogs coming in and out, and that had to represent calm. And then eventually I brought them into the Petco and worked on the same theory: threshold management going in, the whole 9 yards. And then when we were walking down the aisles, calmness. Now I also use good common sense. If we were walking down an aisle and I saw another dog come, I would go to a place where the other dog had more room. Where so they can pass without being claustrophobic, which happens in a lot of times in vets' office because the waiting rooms are usually kind of tiny. It was a busy office. I need to see if I can bring him out more and there more often. Absolutely. The more you can do to desensitize him to those situations where it's going to be naturally excited. Think about the waiting room of a vet's office. You got dogs that are excited because they're out in public. You got dogs that are scared because they're in a vet's office. You got people that are nervous because their dog is in a vet's office. You got all this and all the smells and all this, there's smells of dogs, there's smells of cats, depending on the vet. There could be rabbits, it could be chickens, it could be anything in the vet's office. These smells are overwhelming to a dog. There's dogs that have accidents in vets. So you got the smell of urine, you got the smell of feces in there. You got smells of different medicines that you and I can't pick up the smell, but they can. So this is, excuse me, all overwhelming to a dog that really, because of COVID, doesn't have great socialization skills. So we got to start socializing them. And it's real, real important, guys. If you listen, definitely work on socializing your dogs. Springtime is coming. It's a great time to get out. And when I say socializing, it's not about playing. It's about being out around other dogs, around other people, around other things. I think by the time I was paying the bill, my energy wasn't calm as it should have been either. Absolutely not. When you see the vet bills, nobody's ever calm. But there's going to be frustration when our dog acts up, especially in a public place like a vet, because we're human. We're worried about what everybody else is thinking about what our dog is doing. Screw them. I don't care. So take the time, guys. Spring is coming. Get your dogs out. Start socializing. Socializing is not about playing. It's about coexisting in the same areas together in a calm way. Playtime is if they go to doggy daycare. Playtime is if I bring them into a fenced-in yard and I let them off leash. If they're on leashes, it's not about playing. It's not about excitement. That leash needs to represent to every single dog. That leash equals calm, and it's that simple and it's that hard, if that makes sense. But this is a great, Don, and I love this question because this is so important. And especially for people that got dogs during the COVID pandemic, which we're still dealing with, but we're opening up more and more. A lot of dogs that we got during COVID were not socialized because we couldn't go anywhere. We were afraid. Some people were afraid to leave their houses. Um, so now that things are opening up, the weather hopefully starts getting nicer soon. Start bringing the dogs out with you more often, where you go to dog friendly places or just go for a walk, get some fresh air, enjoy the beautiful weather once it hits, and bring your dogs to places where we know we're going to run into other dogs in a controlled, safe environment. And that could be, again, I'm picking on Long Island right now, Avalon Park, I believe it's in Stony Brook or Setauket or something like that. Blydenburg over in Islandia or a Hauppauge, whatever. Um, Go on the walking trails. It's good for us. We need to get out and get some fresh air and get some exercise anyway. It's good for the dogs, but those walks when you're doing that are all about the structure. And anybody who's watched my video series on how to leash train the dog, which is really mastering the walk, understands the structure is very, very important to the dog. Um, so, Donna, I hope that helped. I know you did the best you can. These tools I'm giving you just hopefully will bridge that gap for you. Um, like I said, Stark, I don't think has an aggressive bone in his body. He's just overexcited, but just keep in mind, if that overexcitement is too much and overwhelming to another dog, it could lead to a potential problem. So it's your job, our job, to keep our dogs calm at all times. I wish everybody would follow what I say. Um, and especially if there's little dogs, the yappy, yappy, yappy dogs, that drives a lot of dogs, bigger dogs, crazy. Um, so should I ask certain questions at the doggy daycare? I don't know enough. I don't know which one you're looking at, but like I said, if you go to, I gotta look up her name. Um, if you go to the one in Port Jeff Station, I guess it would be, uh, the, I forgot the name of it already. All Aboard. I think her name is Mary, Marianne. I don't know why I had a hard time with that. Yeah, the one by Uncle G's. Yeah. Talk to Mary Ann. Tell her I referred you. If she has any questions, you guys can call me. Just let me know when you're going to go there, so I know keep my phone available. Really good. Just talk to her. What I would suggest doing, because she is going to do an introductory period. I know how they do it. They bring they do a controlled intro, and they see how the dog reacts. Um, I'll reach out to her also on Facebook later today and talk. I just mentioned to her you may be checking it out. I'll tell her that Stark is overly excited. He's not a mean dog, but he is a little overly excited. What I would suggest before you go there is definitely take him for a good walk. A good walk before you get him in the car. Tire his tuchus out, and then you know, even when you get there, park, walk around. It's in a little industrial park. Walk around there a little bit, all structured, not about sniffing the ground, not about any of that crap. And then you bring them in, do your threshold management. I think there's 2 or 3 entrances before you get in. I know she redid it, so I don't know how it's been since I left. And you know, make your corrections. I'm not sure how she's going to feel about the e-collar or the prong collars on, but that's, I would leave them on. If she has any questions, you can always reach out to me. Texting me is always the best thing in the world, because this way, if I see that and I'm in a session, I can break away real quick, where I tend not to answer phones when I'm in sessions. So getting back to what I was saying, because as you guys all know, I talk a lot about energy. Um, Energy is so important in my world, in dog training, and personal world. So when I'm doing this today, we're going to go to 2 or 3 different rescue events around here to see about finding the right dog to match this gentleman's energy. So I'm looking for that calm to medium energy dog. I don't want a high energy dog, for the gentleman. And I believe Marcy and Samantha are coming with me, so hopefully we'll get some of this on videotape, the process that I'm going to go, the testing I'm going to do with this dog. I met a dog the other day that I was evaluating for this gentleman. Unfortunately, it's not the right match for the gentleman, but the dog was pretty much chained up outside. And this goes to the socialization that we were just talking to. It's 2.5, 3 years old, the dog, whatever it is, between 2 and 3 years old. And it was pretty much chained outside its whole life. It has no social skills. So every time another dog walked by where we met, and I met in a dog park area because I wanted to see how it reacted, it was that high pitched cry, bark, bub, 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 bub. And it was very hard to break the dog of that because Fortuna had no socialization skills. All it saw is basically from being chained up, other dogs passing, didn't understand the concept. It wasn't trying to kill these other dogs. It wants to play with them, but it has no off switch. And unfortunately for the dog, I put a slip leash on, and because it was chained up, its neck was definitely desensitized a lot. And it wasn't a right match. And I gave the foster parent a lot of tips to hopefully help this dog, succeed in its next phase of life. And I'll stay in touch with her, see how things are going. Um, but energy is crucial. Even if you're looking for a new dog, you're looking to bring a dog into your pack, you're looking to just get your first dog or only dog, look at the energy of the dog. If you're not a high energy person that's going to go hiking and jogging and bike riding and all this type of stuff, don't get a high energy dog. It makes sense. And it's very hard for people to understand that. My big German Shepherd Garson is 8 weeks in an 8 week training program to get his therapy dog certificate. We're in his 5th week and he's still hyper, not aggressive. He's the BMOC, I'm not sure what that means, dog out of the 16 others. So hard to get him to focus on me and my commands there. Okay. So because he's overly excited, how old is he by the way? Um, you need to do a lot more work at home. Again, you're in a group environment, there's other dogs, there's a lot of distractions. So you have to do more work at home to condition him for the outside world. Um, so one question I would ask, is he food motivated? If he's food motivated, could you play a focus game with him so he learns to focus on you? You need to be more relevant in his world. Forget about all these other dogs in this class. I think you said there are 16 other dogs in the class. So big man on campus. Okay. I'm not 4 years old. Okay. So he's still, German Shepherds at 4 years old could still be in the puppy state of mind. Um, but he needs to understand calm. So I know you've been on before. Have you started following that playlist that I put out on Facebook, on YouTube, on how to leash train your dog or master in the walk? Really work on rewarding his calm. Every time he's excited, you should disagree with him. And this is why I think leashes should be our best friends because it's easier to do it with a leash. And when he's calm, reward. If he's food motivated, you can use food. You can use praise because your energy is going to be happy when he's calm. Yay! As long as you don't get overly excited because he's calm, because then you create the excitement. But you really need to work on his focus and his sense of calm. When they're not calm, they can't focus. It's impossible. I don't care whose dog it is. It could be my dog. If she's overly excited, she don't focus that much on me. I'm not relevant at that point. So that's why it was so important. Not yet, but I will. Definitely, because if you follow that how to leash train your dog, it's about rewarding the calm. And that's a thing people have to learn to do. Reward the calm, reward the calm. Stop rewarding excitement. If you come home and your dog's excited to see you and you pet your dog, you're rewarding excitement. If people come to your home and your dog jumps all over them and they go, "Oh, look how cute," they're rewarding their excitement. We need to stop that because that stops these beautiful creatures from becoming therapy dogs and helping us because they're overly excited. How can I bring this overly excited dog into a retirement home where I'm worried they may jump on somebody and hurt somebody? Um, and if I'm thinking that, I'm going to create that. So you really need to do a lot of work at home. It's great they have these classes. The classes are real important to teach them. But a lot of the work needs to come from home. I don't know what type of homework assignments they give you guys when you do therapy training. I'm not certified to do therapy training. To me, it's a simple concept that's become very complicated over the years. Um, because again, if we teach calm, there's no reason any dog can't go into a retirement home, a school, um, whatever it may be. Work with the physically or mentally handicapped people or the elderly, whatever it may be. Um, but we have to teach calm. And that should be the number one focus of anybody who owns a dog. Unless you're using the dog for a sporting thing, you're a hunter, you're going to do a lot of agility training. Dimitri, thank you. Um, Great content. I completely agree. Yeah. Um, and we try to make this into the simplest terms for people to understand, and even if you have a dog that in your home you will like the excitement and you want the excitement, that's fine if you ask for it. If they get it on their own, that's a mistake. But it's no different than when we raise our kids. How our kids act in the four walls of our house is is different than how I expect my children to act when I'm outside. I expect my kids to act better when they were younger in the outside world. When they went to go visit a relative or they went out to their friends' houses or whatever, they had to act differently. Our dogs need to learn how to act differently when they're in the outside world. You know, even if you have a pack of dogs, well, you have a pack of dogs, they're going to play, they're going to roughhouse it, but whatever. If you're fine with it, I'm fine with it. But when we're in the outside world, that doesn't mean they're allowed to do that, if that makes sense. So it's all how you perceive it. Like I said, I'm going to be working with this gentleman to make his dog into an emotional support dog. And my number one focus is reward the calm, reward the calm, reward the calm, reward the calm. And like I said, I'm hoping we get a lot of this process on videotape for you guys. We'll put it out there on YouTube and Facebook as soon as I get it out. Edit it. It will be edited because it's going to be a long, drawn out process. But I really want you guys to see it can happen. Donna knows this from Stark. My energy was so overwhelming to Stark, my calmer energy, that once I took that leash, he just changed, and it happened that quick. And he appreciated it. We saw it on his face. So your energy controls a lot. That's why I say week in, week out on this platform, we gotta stop the what ifs and the whys. Because if you think of the what ifs, you can create the what ifs. And if you think about why is my dog doing this, you're not moving forward. You're staying in the past. And we can't afford to live in the past for their sake and for our own sake. We need to learn to move forward in a calm, assertive way. And remember, slow and steady wins the race, guys. Don't put time frames on this. Take your time. Master, like I talk about my mastering how to leash train my dog playlist. Master episode 1 before you move to episode 2. Master episode 2 before you go to episode 3. Don't start at episode 5 and see how the story ends. You won't appreciate the journey. And that's what this is. It's a journey. And if we look at it as a journey, it should be enjoyable. It shouldn't be work. It shouldn't be stress. It's a journey. We're taking this raw, my theory or in my head, sometimes when I'm working with, especially puppies, I visualize that lump of clay that I'm going to turn into that beautiful, I'm going to say Picasso because don't know art, but that beautiful vase or something to that effect. Well, you don't just get this lump of clay and throw it down on something and it happens. You got to mold it. You got to go along the journey with the clay in order to get that beautiful vase. And that's what dog training is all about. We can put a lot of things on. Yeah, well, and stress under never ever will fix the situation. Embarrassment in these group classes never ever fixes these situations. I don't know how this class works, but it may be something I think you said you're 5 weeks into it or whatever, something like that, right? You said 5 weeks in. Uh, Oops, you're 8 weeks into I'm assuming a 12-week training program. Um, if what I would do is ask maybe the trainer that's running the class is if you can take a couple weeks off, maybe, I don't know, and work with your dog on rewarding the calm. But you can't ask your dog to be calm. Three more to go. Yeah, you can't ask your dog to be calm if you're not. So if you're frustrated, if you're embarrassed, if you're angry, if you're any of these human emotions that just poison us when you're working with your dog, you're not going to be able to move him forward. And that's not a good thing for your dog. It's not a good thing for you either. Hell, who wants to live their life frustrated? I don't. So work on, you know, there's a saying, you can't be happy with somebody else unless you're happy with yourself, or your dog can't be calm unless you're calm. They read your energy. Like I said, Donna can attest to it because Stark got it right away. Um, Michelle, when I worked with Athena kind of got it from me right away that, hey, this isn't how we do things. And it wasn't because I used the verbal. I try not to use a lot of verbal when I work with dogs. The dog training world is the biggest misconception out there because it's not about training dogs, guys. It's about training you to understand what they're communicating to you. And if you're angry, if you're frustrated, I can't stress it enough. It will never help your dog move forward. Guys with the testosterone, check your freaking egos out the door. That simple. You can't fix a dog with testosterone. Women with your estrogen, you can't fix your dog with the baby talk and the rationing. Mommy's the one that feeds you. I love you. Why do you do this? Why do you embarrass me? That doesn't work either. And guys, that's where this, let me put that caption back up here. There's no anger, no frustration, no nonsense comes from. And what I mean by that is, and I'm just going to hit the no nonsense. No means no. Why? Because I said so. I don't need to explain to my children or my dogs why I say no. No means no. Why? Because I said so. But I'm never going to do it out of anger. I'll ask her for 2 weeks off, but then he'll be a totally new group. Is that okay? It shouldn't be a problem. I mean, again, I don't know the process for therapy dogs. I personally wouldn't have a problem with it. When I was up on Long Island, I did run group classes, and there are people that said, "Hey, listen, I'm not going to be able to make it for the next couple of weeks. All right, join the new class when it starts. That's okay." If the instructor in your class is preaching calm, it shouldn't matter what dogs are in there. And that's what, especially in the therapy dog world, these instructors need. It's not the sit, the stay. I don't care about that. It's basic freaking obedience. Behavior is more important when we're dealing with dogs in the outside world. There's a huge difference between obedience and behavior, guys. I hope you understand that. I don't know what they teach in the therapy dog classes. I tried to, when I was living up north, to try to get in one, and to me, it was a Ponzi scheme. They wanted me to bring my dog and make my dog into therapy dog. I said, I'm not interested in that. I want to learn the process so I can help people and dogs. And I'll figure that out. But to me, it's not that complicated of a procedure. If the dog is calm and I have control over my dog, because when they're in a calm state of mind, they tend to focus more on their handler. If we keep them in a calm state of mind, I can bring my dog anywhere I want to go, and I'm not worried about it. She's not going to misbehave. She's not going to, I can bring Zoe anywhere. Zoe's not a certified therapy dog, but I would feel very comfortable with her in a retirement home, um, hospice. I bring her to kids with disabilities, whatever it may be. I would have absolutely no problem doing it because her life is based on calm. Um, so that's what that therapy dog instructor should be doing, is talking about keeping these dogs calm. The other thing, in my opinion, especially when talking therapy dogs, is they're going into retirement homes and they're going into places where there is a food source or medicine, is that these dogs have to learn they shouldn't be able to take food without it being handed to them or in their food bowl. Not just because the food's on the floor. They shouldn't be picking up food off the floor or trying to get it off a coffee table or anything like that. They should learn, and that's something, if I was doing therapy dog training, I would stress that the people have to teach their dogs is the only way they get any type of food source is one from my hand or two in their bowl. That's it, period, end of discussion. Because if they're in a retirement home and somebody's eating, or in a place with kids and they're eating, I don't want the dog one to take the food out of somebody's hand because that can result in a bite. If there's food on the table, I don't want them to get them because some foods dogs shouldn't eat. The worst thing that makes me afraid of, especially going into some of these places, is, God forbid, there's medicine on the floor and the dog thinks it's food. So that's something else, Andrea, you can work with your dog on, teaching them food on the floor, food on the counter, food in your hand is not for them until you offer it. She's not a good group trainer. There's no structure. She's off chatting most of the time. Yeah, and that's sad. And that's because I hate to say it, that's somebody who's in it for this. And I'm not knocking anybody, but that's my interpretation when I see a lot of this stuff. Um, it, it, it's sad because so I'm glad you joined me here because if you follow what I'm saying, we can make this big man on campus the model student. But it comes from you. Work on the calm, work on the calm, work on the calm. One of the things y'all can try. Oh man, I am becoming a southerner. You can try is if you want to see how your dog behaves, go to the AKC website, akc.org, and pull up the test for the Canine Good Citizen program. I think it's 10 steps. Master them. Master the Canine Kennel Society, American Kennel Club's Canine Good Citizen test. Master those 10 steps because if you can master those 10 steps, what did we make our dogs? Good citizens. And that's what you're asking these dogs to be. So this gentleman who I'm going to work with the emotional support dog, I'm going to train the dog on the 10 steps of the American Canine Good Citizen program, and then I'm going to ask somebody else to administer the test because I don't want to have, I want it to pass legitimately, not, well, I trained it, okay, it's good. No, let another, evaluator test the dog. That's fine. I'm fine with that because by the time I bring the dog to be tested, it should be bulletproofed. The American Canine Good Citizen Test is a great guide for us to train our dogs, and you can start it if you have a puppy. They have the STAR program. There's tests for the puppies up to 1 year old. You can even do that with your older dogs, and then the Canine Good Citizen is for the older, adult, teenage adult dogs, and then they have the urban, and they have another one which I forgot, which will talk about more about urban areas and cities and buildings and elevators and escalators and all that type of stuff, which are all good things for dogs to learn. So, Andrea, one of the things I would definitely suggest to you, definitely watch my videos on mastering the walk or how to leash train your dog because it's definitely going to, I think, help you once you understand the calm. Two, download that American Canine Good Citizen test. Work on each one of those. Work one at a time, guys. Remember, slow and steady wins the race. If we all do this, it works. But don't get frustrated with the process. It's a journey. How many times have you gone for a road trip and then you know at the end of the road trip it's going to be a lot of fun, but oh crap, I got a flat. Do we let it ruin the whole trip? No. So we are going to hit those road bumps. We are going to hit a flat tire on the journey, and it's how we move past those speed bumps and the flat tire, so we can enjoy the journey. And that's what dog training is. It is. It's a journey. Stop putting so much pressure on yourselves. Uh, the training collar that I like to always start a dog off with is a martingale collar. Uh, Martgale, Gale, I think, martingale dog collar. Get the all nylon. Don't get the one with the chain in it. I don't like that one. They're on Amazon. Martingale collars are good. I like them. They don't come off the dog. Um, and then, of course, if we need to go to other tools, we can. It's not my first choice. Everybody knows me by now. It's never my first choice. I go for simple. I like simple is better, easier. Um, but guys, enjoy the journey. Don't look at it as a struggle. It's not a struggle. It's a process. Anything worth having is worth working at. Check your own energy before you start working with your dog. So if you know you're having a bad day, maybe it's not the day to work with your dog. But if you're calm and you're in a good mood, I brought Zoe to our clubhouse over here. Uh, not metal, no. I like the nylon ones. Some of the martingale collars have that extra loop, and they're made out of chain. The chain tends to bind up. I like the all nylon ones. I don't have one here to show you, um, but they're all nylon. You get a smoother action out of it. The chain tends to, from my experience, bind up. And I don't like anything that's binding on for the dogs. Um, if you're having a hard time finding it, let me know in a comment. I'll go on Amazon. I'll get the link and I'll send it to you where to look. It'll be later today because I'm going to be running out after here to do dog research. Um, I forgot what I was saying. It's great to be human. Um, But remember, guys, take the time, do it right. If you're not in a good mood, don't work with the dog that day. It's okay. Oh, I was telling you, I brought Zoe into the clubhouse last night. We were having a little get together with some of the neighbors here. And I got the proud papa feeling because everybody was just complimenting her how good she was. There was food around, there was stuff around, how she just laid there and she just came over to you. She looked at you, she didn't beg for affection, but and if you didn't give it to her, she walked away. She just laid there. She was calm with all there was a bunch of us together, so it was loud. It was, you know, adult beverages were involved, so it got very loud. But she stayed calm because that's what she knows she has to be. But it's also me working with her day in day out. I work with my dog every day. Um, I try, like I said, guys, listen. This is a free thing I offer to you guys, and I'm happy and I'm proud and I'm excited every Saturday morning to do this platform. The only thing I do ask in return is to please share my Facebook page, share my YouTube channel with your friends and family across the country, across the world. Let's get hundreds of people watching me live because it'll help us. It'll help us all. I believe anyway, and I hope you guys believe it too. So I ask you to just share. After this gets done, it's on my Facebook page. Share it. You know, with your friends. Share my Facebook page itself. Share my YouTube channel. Uh, I am going to try to start really concentrating on putting more and more content out on YouTube. I know I keep saying it. It's just hard for me to get people together to help me videotape because I can't videotape myself. Um, unless I get a whole tripod system, and I'm not ready to do that yet. But we're going to keep trying. We're going to keep doing this. We're going to bring this platform to you every week. And since I think we had some really great questions, um, thank you, Donna. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody who's watching. I forgot some of the other people that were watching. Thank you for watching, as always. If there is no other question, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We're at the magic 48 minutes mark, so that's about the time frame. But if there are questions, get them in there before I do my sign off. And again, thank you for inviting me into your home, Jackie. Thank you. Into your home each and every Saturday morning. It's truly an honor and a pleasure to bring this platform to you, and I'll keep doing it every week for you guys. As always, stay healthy, stay safe. God bless, and remember, together we can help one dog and one family at a time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys, and we'll see you next Saturday.